Hello everybody, this is Andy. I really wanted to vlog today about Paul Thomas Anderson, or PTA for short. He's a filmmaker, he has a new movie coming out in about 3 weeks, but more so I wanted to talk about how him and his works really sort of sparked my love for movies or film as an art form. And I remember being a devout fan of his since, pretty much forever. I was about 14 on family vacation with my brother and my parents in Costa Rica, and I remember my brother sort of pushing this 3-hour movie called Magnolia onto me. It's this very long, sprawling, very dramatic movie with all these characters getting very yelly, and there's this infamous scene with Julianne Moore. She's like crashing out at her pharmacist, like screaming "fuck." But let's just say by the end of this 3-hour movie, I was a puddle of tears, and I was a very emotionally volatile as a teenager, partly because I was in this like unrequited I guess relationship or like infatuation with a guy who was straight, and like William H. Macy's character, who I strongly related to in the movie, he's also like hopelessly mentally ill and infatuated with this straight bartender that he's like going to see, and he just can't express himself, and it's sort of like this sort of broke me. And I remember it being this very cathartic experience where a lot of the emotions I had bottled up inside really came spilling out, and it really was this moment that kind of cracked me open to how movies could serve as a form of therapy and really sort of heal a lot of those like things you go through or traumas. And I remember after that movie, I sort of chased down everything else PTA I made as before then, called movies like Boogie Nights, Punch Drunk Love with Adam Sandler, Heart 8. I remember seeing not too long after that, about a year later in 2007, I saw There Will Be Blood in theaters, and then I saw No Country for Old Men by the Coen brothers. And those two movies, like back to back, really basically baptized me into like this hardcore cinephile or film nerd. And this new movie coming out, I think it's coming out on September 26th. It's called One Battle After Another, and it's sort of like my Eras tour. I've joked that it's like Ariana Grande's Eternal Sunshine tour for me. No shade to Ariana, she has amazing film taste. Just judging that she was inspired by Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, which is just like mwah, just amazing. But yeah, I'm stoked for this movie. I'm not sure what it's about. It stars Leonardo DiCaprio as this sort of insurrectionary, like left-wing guy who's like looking for his baby, and it seems action-packed. Sean Penn is like this right-wing police commander guy. Yeah, not sure what it's about. I've stayed away from the plot, any plot spoilers, but I know it was loosely based on a Thomas Pynchon novel, I think, which is interesting because PTA, I can sort of just chronicle when his movies came out. After There Will Be Blood, he came out with The Master with Joaquin Phoenix and Philip Seymour Hoffman in 2009, was blown away by that. And then he came out with Inherent Vice, also starring Joaquin Phoenix, in 2014, which is also based more of a direct adaptation of a Thomas Pynchon novel. That very hazy and surreal movie, but also really good. But it didn't exactly have the greatest box office reception. And I'm really stoked for this new movie because it seems to be the most marketed or the most big budget PTA movie that's ever come out. And I've heard some critics I respect praise it as the best big studio movie to come out since like movies like Mad Max Fury Road, which also floored me in theaters. But yeah, I'm very stoked, very psyched for this new movie coming out, and I just wanted to share sort of like a film nerd origin story on me. And a lot of my love for movies came out of my relationship with my twin brother. We were always sort of constantly, competitively seeking out other stuff, whether it be books or movies or TV that we could, watch and just one up each other. And I thank him for sort of showing me Magnolia and getting me into PTA, because it really set the whole thing in motion. Anyways, thanks so much for tuning in. If you did, I'm probably going to be doing more vlogs like this, just talking about movies and just random things I like. And yeah, I hope you guys have a great day.